All right. Hey, good Tuesday morning to you guys. We got blanket pardons, FBI power plays, and a Bondi backlash. Today's show dives into three major stories, guys. Joe Biden's controversial blanket pardon of Hunter, the truth about the FBI director's 10-year term limit, because I think so many people have this wrong right now. So I want to dive into that a little bit. And Pam Bondi's photo op fail with Senator Lindsey Graham. But before we get into that, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode. That way we can get it out to the masses and get it up in the algorithm so more people can find the show. And it would mean a hell of a lot to me. I'd really appreciate it. But let's jump right into this episode. Oh, programming note before we jump too far in. So I'm going to keep using, as you guys know, we tried out Rumble Studio for the first time let me turn this up a little bit. My microphone keeps jacking up, so hopefully the audio quality is good. But it keeps going way down here. I apologize. I'm doing this mid chest, but let me try to. There we go. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I think that's better. Sorry. As I'm getting ready to explain to you guys, programming note, we're going to keep trying to use Rumble Studio. Sorry, I was going to say Rumble Live, but Rumble Studio moving forward. We tried it yesterday. Mixed reviews on how well I like it so far, but I'm going to keep giving it a shot because it's so much easier to have a live stream on Rumble if you're using Rumble Studios. It looks like our Facebook Live might have failed today. I got to look into that, but so far we're going to keep using it because it's easier to do a live stream on Rumble. And I want to make sure that I'm building an audience over on Rumble simply for the fact that if I talk about controversial things, a lot of the other platforms like to take down your content or ban your account. So Rumble doesn't do that. So that's one of the main reasons why I want to make sure there's a live stream on Rumble for an audience so that if the stuff ever gets taken down or they, come at me, I can say, guys, just go over to Rumble and watch it live. But anyway, I appreciate you guys being back. That's the programming note. Oh, and we're going to try to do the live on a regularly scheduled timeline of 8 a.m. So every day, 8 a.m., we're going to start the live. And so that way you guys have a definitive time frame to where you can come back and watch this show on any given day, Monday through Friday. So I think that's it. Make sure, again, that you guys like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure that you guys subscribe to the show. And then do me a favor, if you like what you hear today, share it with a friend or share it on your social media. It would mean the world to me. All right, let's jump right in, guys, to today's show. And let's start with this blanket pardon of Hunter Biden. Now, this is a big one, not because Joe Biden actually pardoned his son, because I'm not shocked, not at all. I'm not shocked that he did it. I'm not surprised that he did it. I think we all knew he was going to do it. So, there's definitely, I don't think, shock amongst, regular Americans out there. We kind of expected him to do this. So I don't think there's this shock and surprise with the pardon. But do I think that there are people who are upset by this? Absolutely. Am I upset by this? I would say yes, but probably not for the reasons that the Democrats or the far left, radical, crazy progressives want to say. I'm upset not for the reasons they think, and maybe not even for the reasons you think. But the thing that I think bothers me, not that I think, I know bothers me, and what I think bothers the vast majority of Americans based off of the feedback is it's not his dishonesty about how he would not pardon Hunter Biden. It's about the scope of the pardon that he gave Hunter Biden, because we all knew he would do it. So we're not surprised. We're not even surprised that he lied about not doing it or his unwillingness to do it, because we know Joe Biden is a compulsive liar. But it's the scope of the pardon that he gave. He gave Hunter Biden a 10-year blanket pardon covering any crimes he may have committed in the last 10 years, or that he did commit, may have committed, or was involved in committing. So think about that for just a second, because the Democrats, I mean, they're already out there doing Olympic level mental gymnastics with this illogical arguments that they've made for Joe Biden over the last year about him potentially pardoning Hunter. And it is funny to watch them. And I'm going to give you some reaction here today to the liberal left and the progressives on MSNBC and CNN. They don't know what to do. Their minds are so pretzeled right now. They're literally doing Olympic level gymnastics, mental gymnastics, trying to provide their illogical arguments for why this doesn't actually demolish everything they have said for the last 8 years. That Joe Biden has proven to be a fraud, a liar, a compulsive liar, which we all knew that when he ran in 2020. I mean, the guy, the first time he ran for president, had to drop out because he got caught plagiarizing somebody else's speeches. So we've all known that Joe Biden is a compulsive liar. The only people that won't or didn't want to see that he was a compulsive liar are the extreme progressives on the left. And a lot of them know he's a compulsive liar. They just hate the other side, their political opponents, so much that they don't care. They don't care if he's a compulsive liar. It doesn't matter. So nobody is surprised. Nobody is surprised that he actually did the pardon. Nobody is surprised that he lied about giving the pardon. I think the surprise, and I think there's some of us that really aren't even shocked and surprised by this, but pissed off by it, is this 10-year pardon, this 10-year blanket pardon. Because keep in mind, guys, what Hunter Biden was in trouble for was tax evasion, right? Which is bad, but he, according to records, paid back the taxes plus penalties and interest, right? That he evaded. He got caught evading taxes, and he said, "Okay, I'll pay them back with principal, or I'm sorry, with interest and penalties," and he did that. But he still got charged for the tax evasion. And then the other thing was, he filled out a form when he bought a gun on the criminal background check that said, that he wasn't a felon, wasn't abusing drugs, et cetera, something to that effect. And the Democrats are saying, "Oh, he just filled out a form wrong." Jeez Louise, let's get these words out today, Justin. He just filled out a form wrong. No big deal. Nothing to see here. How are you gonna? It's a political witch hunt, political prosecution, which is hilarious. How they've been saying for. Isn't it funny how Joe Biden puts in his announcement that he pardoned Hunter that this was basically a political prosecution, but yet they've sat here, the left, the progressive left, the communist, the Marxist left, have sat here and lied and manipulated the American people for the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, saying that there's no such thing as political prosecutions, that the rule of law is good and pure in America. The justice system has not been weaponized against people's political opponents. And then Joe Biden literally destroys the whole left's, progressive left's narrative in one sentence in his statement about Hunter Biden's pardon, when he said one of the main reasons he decided to give him this pardon was because it was a political prosecution. I'm telling you, the hypocrisy on the left knows no bounds. It's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting, the level of hypocrisy, lying, and just outright stupidity that there is on the progressive left. I mean, these folks have no values. They have no morals. And so to see them even try to take the moral high ground on any argument anymore is laughable. They have no morals. They have no values. They have nothing they stand on. It's quite, they make that so obvious with all their rank hypocrisy on almost every single issue. They try to take this moral high ground like they're the party that, has character and values, and Trump, orange man bad, convicted felon, all this stuff. And they're literally the party of mental manipulation, lying, influence peddling, criminal activities. And prove me wrong. I mean, just prove me wrong, because what happened with this pardon? The only thing Joe Biden did was prove that him and his family have had a corruption, influence peddling operation going on in America since 2014. How do we know that? Because he gave Hunter a 10-year blanket pardon. Because if this was just about a form and some tax evasion, in the pardon, he could have said specifically, that I am pardoning him for these specific crimes. But no, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. He said, no, I'm going to pardon him for all crimes he has committed, may have committed, or was involved in committing. Not just this tax evasion stuff or this, gun control form or whatever. No. I'm for 10 years. Now, it's funny what that coincides with too, because it wasn't Hunter. Didn't he get on the board of Burisma in Ukraine in January of 2014? And that's where this thing goes back to. Guys, it's just proof. Okay. If you need any more proof that the Democrat Party, that the Bidens, that the progressive left are nothing but liars, cheats, scoundrels. And I'm not like there's people on the right too that are just bad. I'm actually going to talk about one on today's episode a little bit later in the episode. So stick around for that. But there are Republicans that are just as bad. But it just proves to you that these guys are they have no values, they have no morals, they have no backbone, they have no character. They're willing to lie, manipulate, and use rank hypocrisy anytime they see fit. So much so that they can't even be taken serious anymore. And it just baffles me that there are people out there that still take this group of people, the progressive left and liberals and Democrats in Washington D.C., seriously. I mean, they're literally the boy who cried wolf on steroids, like on steroids. And people actually still believe them. It's crazy to me. But all this pardon does, the part that actually boils people's blood is this 10-year blanket pardon on any and all crimes he may have committed, has committed, or was possibly involved in committing. Guys, if we always often talk about wanting the truth to come out. Like, just can the people in DC just tell us the truth? Like, stop being freaking swamp rats. Stop being like disgusting, vile, influence peddling turds, and just tell us the truth. Stop trying to get rich on our backs and on your offices, and just be honest with the American people about what really went on. And a lot of these same sentiments were coming out back when we found out that Hunter served on the board of Burisma and that the Biden family had been influence peddling potentially. We're just like, oh, just tell us the truth. Let us decide for ourselves. But see, the left, the media, all these fake ass, disgusting people who lie for a living told you, oh, no, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here. And we were just saying, well, just tell us the truth. Let us decide. We still may vote for the guy, depending on how bad this is, because we all know you're corrupt. We all know you're corrupt and disgusting pigs. We know that about you, DC, all you politicians. We know that about you. That's why we sent Donald Trump to DC. So we know this, right? So it's like, just tell us the truth. Well, guys, and they don't, right? They don't. But if you wanted to know the truth about the Biden family corruption, you don't have to look any further than this pardon. If you wanted proof that the Biden family has been influence peddling, so much so that they know they have committed crimes in pursuit of influence peddling, they know it's bad. And some of it, guys, could be even treasonous. Like, it could be as bad as treason. Because, I mean, if you're taking payments from foreign companies to do things on their behalf against the will of the American people or the government, that is treasonous. And it's so bad that he had to give him a 10-year blanket pardon. And I don't think Hunter Biden is going to be the last one that gets a 10-year blanket pardon. I really don't. But if you wanted proof that this administration, the Biden administration and the Democrat Party, because they're all tied in, that if you needed more proof that they were corrupt and that they've been doing shady shit for the last 10 years, guys, this pardon is them telling you the truth. Yeah, they're not giving you all the details, but this is an admission that, yes, shady stuff has in fact been going on for at least a decade that Hunter Biden's been involved in. I believe wholeheartedly that the shady shit that Biden has been involved in goes back much further than a decade. But all his buddies in the Senate will make sure to protect him on his way out. So he may pardon himself before he leaves. He may not, because he might believe in the good old boy system in the Senate that may save his bacon. And we'll see. I think he's going to pardon himself before he leaves. I mean, this pardon of Hunter is kind of proof to me that, Biden, or Hunter Biden at least, got involved in the Biden influence schemes in 2014, probably when he got appointed to the board of Burisma, because dad was like, hey, dude, you got to go out and earn your keep. And this is how we do it. And so that's probably when Hunter, because Hunter's been a flunky his whole life, right? he's literally been a druggie and a womanizer, and like, his whole life has revolved around strippers, hookers, and blow, right, and drugs, and so he's been a flunky his whole life. He's been a degenerate his whole life, and I'm not saying that to be mean. It's just a fact. He even admits it that he's been a degenerate. And I think he got to that point in 2014. Dad's like, you gotta get involved and stop being such a flunky. But I mean, still he was a flunky. And yeah, like if you're gonna do, like, the irony and hilariousness of this is, if you're gonna do like this criminal influence peddling scheme in Washington, D.C. at the expense of the American people, like, you're really gonna hire your flunky son who fucks up quite literally everything to the point where he will drop the laptop off that has all the evidence of all the shit you're doing illegally on it. And he'll drop it off to a laptop repair store, but he gets so high all the time that he forgets to go back and pick it up. All the evidence is there. All the emails, it's all there. And you guys, it will come out. It will come out under this new administration, which is why this 10-year blanket pardon has happened. But like, you're too high to go pick up the laptop. Like, I bet Joe Biden was just like, you idiot. Like, I mean, think about this. You're trying to run this influence peddling scheme, which I think it's hilarious. You're going to hire your flunky son to get involved and like help move the money around, right? Launder the money and make sure it comes back to you one way or another. And he just screws it up. Like, he F's up the whole thing. It's really laughable to me. Excuse me. Hence the pardon. Oh man, excuse me there. Let me get a drink of coffee real quick. So yeah, I just think if you needed any more proof, guys, that you don't really need them to come out and say, yeah, hey, we admit we've been doing influence peddling in DC and committing crimes in the process, because they just admitted to it through this pardon. I mean, this is a pardon that is more broad and grandiose than the one that Nixon got from Ford. I mean, this is probably one of the broadest and sweetest pardon deals in the history of the United States. And I don't think that's hyperbole. I genuinely believe this is the broadest, widest sweeping pardon ever granted by a United States president. And I don't think it'll be his last one. And all this does is prove that the influence peddling is major business in Washington, D.C., which we've all known about it, but we just want to know the details. We want to know who's involved. This is why everybody's excited about Kash Patel going into the FBI. And they were excited about Matt Gaetz coming in as AG because we knew Matt Gaetz wouldn't F around. Or a little less excited about Pam Bondi. I'm going to talk about that here in a second. But this is why we were excited for Trump's picks to get in there and root out this corruption. I mean, I think it's safe to say that the American people want corruption rooted out at all levels of government, regardless of party affiliation. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. If you're doing corrupt shit and taking advantage of your office and the American people, you should be investigated. And if found that there's credible evidence of your corruption, you should be held accountable. You should be perp walked, fingerprinted, mugshotted, thrown in jail. The American people actually want to see this because we know deep down in our souls that these people are criminals, that they're corruptocrats. We know this. We know this about the vast majority of politicians and high-level bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. We know it's a pay-to-play sport. And we've just grinned and bear it. We've gritted our teeth. We've met you. We've shook your guys' hands at meet and greets and just kind of gritted our teeth. And we're like, God, you make me throw up in my mouth a little bit, but I know I still have to vote for you. And I think we're just done with those days, right? We're done. And we're like, you know what? Finally, we got somebody in here that will actually do what we think, what the American people want. We think they'll actually get it done. And so, there's a lot of pressure on Trump. And all these down ballot Republicans in the House and the Senate that also got in. There's a lot of pressure on these guys to follow through on these mandates. Like, we want to see all corruption rooted out. Don't care which side of the aisle it's on. Don't care what bureaucrat, what office. We don't care. We know it exists and we want to see it rooted out. And this Joe Biden pardon of Hunter Biden is proof of influence peddling schemes that are criminal in nature going on in Washington, D.C., at least with Hunter, since 2014. It's crazy. What's your guys' take on this? Does this blanket pardon surprise you, or is it just more proof of how deep the corruption actually goes in DC? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. yeah, I think this is proof that they don't need to come out and this was their admission, right? They don't need to come out and actually give a statement on how bad it's been. But you guys let me know what your take is, if it surprises you. Because I don't think Biden's actions are just about protecting Hunter, they're about protecting him. And because if he goes down, then the system goes down. Because there's other senators, there are other bureaucrats out there that do the same pay to play schemes that Joe Biden and his family have done for years. So his actions aren't just about protecting Hunter, right? It's about protecting the system, protecting him. And that's what makes it so, I think, infuriating, right? Like that's what pisses people off is it's just an admission that the system is corrupt. And we know this and we want to root it out at all costs. Hey, so just as a quick reminder, guys, my book, We the Puppets, is out, right? And it's been out since October. Sales have been great. You guys have been amazing. For those of you that went out to Amazon or came to my website to buy it, I really appreciate it. But Christmas is coming up, and this is a great stocking stuff for you guys. So, like, if it's a quick read, you can get through it in quite literally a weekend. It's crazy. This one has a little bit of dust on it because I had contractors in here working in here and they created some dust. I tried to get it all cleaned up, but there's still dust. That book's got dust. But anyway, I won't give you this one because it's got a little dust on it. But Christmas is coming up, guys. It's a quick read, makes a great stocking stuffer. It would be a great gift for the young folks in your life, college kids, high school kids, or anybody in your family that just really doesn't like politics, but kind of thinks the system's wrong. It's a good book for them because it'll explain all of that for them. So if you haven't went and picked up your copy of We the Puppets, do so. You can do so over on Amazon.com. Just type in We the Puppets and my name, Justin Staten. It'll pop up. Or you can go over to my website, justinstaten.com, and that's Staten. It's like Staten Island, but we pronounce it Staten. justinstaten.com to get your autographed copy of the book over there on the website. Now let's shift gears here. Let's move on. Let's talk about the FBI, this FBI director 10-year term limit thing, because this is like all over the news. It's all over social media. And I just think people have this wrong. Oh, hold on. I want to back up. I don't mean to do this, but I wanted to play you guys this montage of the there's a couple things I want to play for you. Going back to the Joe Biden thing. We can't move on because I got to play this for you guys. I totally forgot. I just saw my note on it. So I'm going to line this up for you guys because I can't move on without playing this stuff for you guys. So here's the montage, and it's long. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But here is, let me get it pulled up here. Here's the montage of the media, spending all this time talking about how holier than thou they have been and how the Biden family is and how much different they are from Trump. Excuse me. Damn, I should hit the mute thing on my microphone, but sometimes these coughs just come out of nowhere. But anyway, this is the montage of the media just taking their moral high ground. I'm putting that in air quotes for those of you listening to the podcast. But this is like a 9-minute montage. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But let's just go back and remember how the media reminded us over and over and every panelist that, this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen. Joe Biden is never going to pardon his son because he's just the most amazing president ever. All right, let's take a listen here. Let me pop this up, and here we go.
Before family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
Was asked directly, and he has said he wouldn't pardon his son if he gets convicted.
Let's wait and see what happens if he loses.
Yeah, but he said it.
He's going to get pardoned by his dad. There's no question about that.
The president has ruled out pardoning his son.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
So the challenge for him is really to continue to live up to his values when it was really personal, and he did that today.
It seems like a pretty normal, straightforward answer, but it takes new weight when we see what Trump is saying about the outcome of his trial, what we're hearing from other Republicans who say they don't accept the jury's verdict here in New York.
The contrast is profound. To sit there and say, well, I'm not going to intervene in the legal process, and I wouldn't pardon my son. One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
A current.
All right. So, and I'm going to let this go just a little bit longer, but you see the framing, you see the manipulation at the left. The left knows. The left knows that Joe Biden is a compulsive liar. They know this. But on one side, you've got the Democrats, the holier than thous, protecting the justice system. And on the other side, you've got evil Republicans who only want to protect Trump. Why are they like this? Because I know a lot of you ask this question. Why is the media like this? Why do they always get it wrong? Why are they always trying to spin a narrative? Well, they always get it wrong because they have no interest in getting it right. That you have to understand. They're not journalists. They have no interest in getting the story right. They only have an interest in spinning the narrative. They want to spin the narrative because power, control, and influence actually matters to them, because that is how the sausage is made in DC, in the halls of power. It's influence. It's power. That's how the sausage is made. So that's why they want to spin narratives continuously. That's why they're compulsive liars. They have no morals, no characters, and they don't care.
President of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son.
So much respect
I mean,
for the
what,
law. How's
you
that
know,
working out?
again, it's all about the contrast.
President Biden saying, I will respect whatever this jury decides,
That's
versus
right.
Donald Trump after he was convicted on 34 counts, saying the entire system is rigged against him.
Their latest attack has been
they're
that Joe
looking
Biden
stupid.
has politicized
so
and weaponized the DOJ, right?
Look
That was
at
the
'em.
whole argument around Donald Trump's conviction. And this week, of course, Hunter Biden was found guilty, and Joe Biden has very clearly said he would not pardon his son, he would not commute his sentence. How stark is this difference? I mean, how can Republicans keep making this argument now that Joe Biden has really put it out there? Where's Hunter? And he stood there in a courtroom, flanked by his family, and he's accepted his sentence.
He is not pardoning his son, which he could do. These are federal charges.
Right.
He is not doing that. He is not doing it because he is living what it means to have a rule of law in this country.
Yeah.
And it isn't, if you want to know if he believes it, you could actually see what is happening with his own son.
The president, Anderson.
Okay, so I'm just going to leave it there. Like, we all know, like, either these people are completely stupid, which I don't think they are. I don't think these people are stupid at all. I think they know what they're doing. I think some of them might still drink the Kool-Aid and actually believe in the Democrat Party and being a progressive, which if you guys caught yesterday's episode, I'm not calling these people liberals anymore because that's an affront to good classical liberals. They're progressives. They're Marxists. They're communists. They're propagandists. MSNBC, CNN's nothing but the propaganda arm of the progressive Democrats in America. It's that simple. But they know what they're doing. The vast majority of these pundits on TV, they know they're spinning a tale. They get that. They understand that. They just don't want you to get that or understand that. Because they want to manipulate you. That's it. It's quite literally that simple. I'm trying to line up this other video because then you start getting your response to it. And I came across this response. This lady on TikTok. I thought this was so spot on about the media and how they react. Her reaction is so spot on. So I'm going to bring this up here and let me just line this up for you guys so that you can hear the response here on TikTok.
Okay, what I will not come on here and do is act shocked and irate over Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden. Can we all stop acting like this is a surprise? Everyone knew this man was going to do this. What I find so off-putting is the fact that they doubled down on saying that he wouldn't do this. Like, even after the coup, after they kicked this man out and replaced him with a DEI hire, he still doubled down more than once on the fact that he would not do this. So why the change of heart? But even that doesn't piss me off or surprise me. You know what does, though? All these liberal pundits, talking heads, and creators on this and every other social media app that tried to act like he was holier than thou because he was such a good man for the fact that he wasn't going to pardon his son. And now that he has, you look through their comments and everybody's like, bravo, way to go, good job, Joe. Their boundless hypocrisy is fucking revolting. Don't even care that he did it. I'm more disgusted with the lying fucking talking heads that applauded this man for not doing it and are now applauding him for doing it.
Yeah, just rank hypocrisy, as I said at the top of the episode. That's just complete rank hypocrisy. And shout out to 11 Stacy's mom. That is her username over there on TikTok. So if you guys are over on TikTok, give her a share and give her some credit. That's 11, the number 11, Stacy's mom, which I think is a funny username. But anyway, give her some love over on TikTok. But yeah, it's the rank hypocrisy from the left. Like and I'm not going to beat that horse to death, but it's just the rank hypocrisy. And I also wanted to show you guys real quick before I move on to this next topic, the FBI director 10-year term limit thing. I want to show you guys the actual statement, so you know that I'm not, blowing smoke up your buttholes on this whole ordeal. So let me get this pulled up for you guys. Here we go, right here. So here's the actual statement, the actual pardon for Hunter Biden. So you can see down here, a full and unconditional pardon for those offenses against the United States, which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024, including but not limited to all offenses charged or prosecuted, including any that have resulted in convictions by special counsel David C. Weiss. And then it goes on. And guys, why so specific, right? And I know we talked about it at the top of the hour, so I won't beat this completely to death, but I wanted to show it to you. It's just crazy. This is the Biden admission of guilt in their influence peddling scheme going back to 2014. And we all know Joe Biden. I said it before. Joe Biden, his influence peddling goes back years and years. But I think Hunter Biden got involved in the influence peddling schemes heavily and started committing his initial crimes with Joe Biden and the Joe Biden family crime syndicate, sometime around January 2014, right? Because guys, once again, if this was just over a form, right, a gun form, why go back 10 years? Why give him a blanket pardon for crimes he did commit, may have committed, or may have been involved in committing? Why do it? This is nothing more than an admission that these guys are criminal. That's all it is. All right, let's move on to this. I want to dive into this 10-year term here for FBI director, because as everybody and their brother knows, Trump is saying, nope, Kash Patel is going to be the director of the FBI. And you got a lot of people, pundits, of course, the pundits are out on MSNBC and CNN and ABC, CBS, NBC, all the fake lying propaganda media telling you, oh, yeah, he's got a 10-year term limit. And, there's precedence here. Every president is blah, blah, blah. And they just go on and on about this 10-year term. And there's some saying, oh, well, Trump can't remove Christopher Wray because he has a 10-year term. And you've even got, I think Dick Durbin came out recently and said, I don't think Trump can remove Christopher Wray. Well, I'm here to set the record straight for you guys today, because there's so much chatter about whether Trump can actually remove Christopher Wray. And we're going to clear that up right now. But let me give you guys some history on this. So where did this whole 10-year term thing come from? Well, in 1968, Congress passed an omnibus crime bill. And in that omnibus crime bill, they put in a term limit for the FBI director. Now, this came about because J. Edgar Hoover had been the director of the FBI for decades at this point. And J. Edgar Hoover clearly abused his power. So I think it just goes to prove to everybody that the FBI has quite literally been corrupted at the highest levels of the FBI since its beginning, since J. Edgar Hoover. Because what did Hoover used to do? Hoover used to go out and dig up dirt on politicians. He would go out and dig up dirt. He would utilize the FBI to spy on politicians, incoming presidents, and dig up dirt on them. How do you think he was able to keep being nominated and kept as the director of the FBI? Because the director of the FBI falls under the executive branch, and any president could have gotten rid of Hoover. Why didn't they? Right? Is because he spent time digging up dirt on politicians so that he could stay in power and influence outcomes of the government. Quite simple. And Congress knew this. In 1968, they said, look, we can't have this again. We can't have somebody that sits over at the FBI as the director and digs up dirt on everybody and blackmails people and manipulates people to get the outcomes that he wants. It's just un-American. And so they said, we've got to put an amendment in here. And they used the 1968 Omnibus Crime Bill to do this. And that simply says that the FBI director's term shall be 10 years and that they cannot serve any more than one term because they don't want a lifelong person in there like Hoover. So Hoover was the reason. This was also during Watergate, the Watergate scandal. So due to Hoover's digging up dirt on everybody, politicians, congressmen, presidents, etc., they were like, look, we're never going to allow this to happen again. So we need to create some legislation around this. And that's where this whole 10-year term came from. So prior to that, there was no 10-year term for the FBI director. However, what this bill doesn't do is eliminate the president's executive powers. And this is important to understand because the true intent of this legislation in 1968 was to limit the director's tenure, not provide for it. So keep in mind the whole, and I got to clear my throat, so give me 1 second. The whole, sorry about that. I'm working up some phlegm here, which I know you guys don't want to hear and don't care about. I get it. But hey, I'm just keeping it real up in here. So the intent of this bill, guys, was to limit the tenure of the FBI director. It was not to provide for it. And it was not intended to override the president's authority to remove executive officers because Congress cannot interfere with executive powers. It's separation of powers, guys. That's why we have three branches. And I don't mean to, dumb it down and make it sound so remedial, but we have to understand that Congress cannot limit the executive powers. The Constitution provides these powers to the President of the United States so that he can make sure that the laws that are passed by Congress are executed properly. And as part of that, he needs the ability to nominate with the advice and consent of the Senate, but then eliminate without the advice and consent. The president doesn't need advice and consent to eliminate executive officers. So that if you get somebody in that is not doing the will of the people, because that's what it all boils down to, the president can remove that person from office and put somebody in that will serve the will of the people. And our justice system is so important that we get it right. It has to be equal. It has to be balanced. It has to be blind. It has to follow the constitutional protocol that we have in place to protect our natural rights as citizens. And I think we all agree that at this point in the game, those rights are under attack by a weaponized FBI. And I want to be clear about something on this topic too. There are thousands of rank and file FBI agents across the country that do phenomenal work, that fight crime. They try to get bad people off the streets. They try to help local law enforcement solve crimes in their communities. They do good work and they work hard. And I've known and still know a couple of these people that serve as field agents in the FBI, and they do phenomenal work. They work hard. I can attest to how hard these individuals work, and sometimes how long, and they have to travel and go out of town, and they're away from their families and their personal lives for months sometimes at the drop of a hat and at a whim, because they got to go and into a local community and help solve a crime or chase down a suspect or gather evidence. And they do good work. All that to say, they do really good work. I know that was a long-winded response to say, well, I'm not talking about the rank and file of the FBI, because I believe they're good, patriotic men and women that genuinely want to fight crime. They genuinely want to follow the Constitution. They genuinely do not want to violate any American citizens' rights, civil rights, our protected rights, our God-given rights, natural rights. that the Constitution upholds and protects. And it's the leadership of the FBI that is the problem. So the intent of this 10-year term was to limit the tenure of the FBI director, not provide for it. And it did not in any way, shape, or form remove the executive authority of the President of the United States. And you guys can go out and read it for yourselves if you'd like. You can go out and read the code. Here, let me pull it up for you. You guys can go out and read this for yourself. If you want to see what I'm saying is not complete smoke and mirrors, because a lot of you think that. You can go out and Google. Let me see here. Where's it at? Oh, no. Oh, man, I am all the way at the top. No, I got to scroll. So I'll find it. Give me a second here to find it. And I know you guys don't want to sit there listening to static air, but I will get to it. I think it's USC 28532. Yeah, so go out and Google 28 USC, US code 532, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Nowhere in there, nowhere in that legislation, and you can look up the 1968 Omnibus Crime Bill, and you'll see nowhere in there did it remove executive power, because it can't. And if we want to go a layer deeper, the Supreme Court precedents, such like Myers versus United States, Humphreys Executor versus United States, affirm that Congress cannot strip the president of his or her executive powers. So not only is it unconstitutional to believe that the president cannot remove an executive officer from the executive branch of government, there is Supreme Court precedents that has upheld the Constitution that says Congress, because of separation of powers, cannot pass legislation that strips the president of these powers, because then you don't have a separation, guys. It's just literally that simple. So all the talking heads out there, I don't care if they sit in Congress, I don't care if they're a commentator on TV, if they're telling you that Trump cannot remove Christopher Wray or fire him, they're wrong. They're flat out wrong, because the president of the United States has the authority in all executive powers. That includes removing executive officers. So the question now becomes, knowing that he has the authority to do this, should he do it? Should Trump fire Wray if he doesn't align with the administration's agenda? Because that's the real question that the American citizens in a representative constitutional republic should be asking. Should Trump fire Wray if he doesn't align with the administration's agenda? That's the real question. That's the question that the talking heads should be asking. That's the question that politicians should be asking and congressional representatives should be asking, is should he do it if Christopher Wray's policies don't align with the agenda? And I want to know what your thoughts are. And my personal belief, and so let me know in the comments section, guys, do you think that Trump should fire Wray if he doesn't align with the administration's agenda? I think he should. Here's the reason why I think. If Christopher Wray's policies and direction and management of the FBI does not follow the agenda of the administration, he should be fired. Why? Because the agenda of the administration is the will of the people. We had an election. We had two candidates. One said he would root out corruption. He would drain the swamp. He would let the truth out and show the American people what's really going on in Washington, D.C. And one didn't. We hired the one that said he would do all of this. So yes, if there is a executive officer in the executive branch of government that is not going to align with the administration's agenda, which is the will of the people, when you hear that term, administration's agenda, you should be thinking to yourself, will of the people, because the people voted, the people chose. And anyone in that executive branch of government that is not going to align with the agenda of this incoming administration should be removed and fired. And the vast majority of the American people are going to support that. Now, I know some of you out there are not going to like that. I get it. I know you're not going to agree with it or like it because Orange Man bad and you just hate Trump and you're unable to hold in your head complex thoughts. Instead, you do mental gymnastics and illogical arguments over things like how Biden is still noble for giving his son a 10-year pardon. And I think you're still savable, but you got to turn off the MSNBC and CNN and shut down the brainwashing. I think Kash Patel is going to be a great FBI director. And I hope, and again, I've said this on several episodes, and I'll keep saying it for all you senators out there. And Lindsey Graham is the one I trust the least. I mean, maybe, there's Susan Collins and was it McCaskill? Maybe I trust them a little less than Lindsey Graham. But I'm telling you guys, if you don't vote to nominate these people that Trump is putting up, you're going to be primaried. This will indeed. So if you have this grandiose idea of serving in Congress until you take your last breath, well, then you better get in line. That's the only way you stay. That's the only way you stay. And this is across the board. This goes to the House of Representatives too. I know they don't have the advice and consent rule, but if you're not going to get in line and pass legislation that this administration wants to get through to benefit the American people, you will be primaried, and you've only got 2 years. Some of these senators are lucky because they've got 6-year brand new terms. Some of them got 3, 4. But you guys in the House, you've only got 2 years. You will be primaried. We are watching. The American people are tuned in this time. And I know some of you out there are getting tired of politics, right? It was a crazy election cycle, and now it's holidays, and you're like, man, I want something different. I want to focus on college football. Basketball just started, and I want to focus there. And I just want to, focus on the holidays. And that's fine. That's great. Do that. Unwind, unplug, recharge the batteries. But guys, after the holidays, you have to get back involved. You have to stay involved. And I think the vast majority of you are going to, because you're tired of the bullshit. You're just tired of things not working out in favor of the American people. We work way too hard. We keep this country running, and to get nowhere because the power brokers in DC want to manipulate our systems to constantly benefit themselves and their buddies is just getting old because it's at our expense. And how do you know it's at our expense? Look at the results. That's all you got to do. Look at the results of these people's policies. Look at we're 36 trillion in debt. Personal debt and credit card debt is at the highest levels in a very, very long time, if not the highest levels ever. $1.3 trillion, I believe, right now. The results are not good. Real wages have not increased at all since Trump's been in office. And before Trump coming in office, real wages hadn't increased in like 40 years. All you have to do to see that it's not working and that the deck is stacked against you is look at the results. But anyway, back to this 10-year term thing. I don't know that a lot of people say the FBI, some people say the FBI is not corrupt. Some people say the FBI's problems will not go away with the change of one director. And I disagree. This system needs to be, and it's not the rank and file, it's the leadership, needs to be completely gutted out of the FBI. Completely gutted. Get rid of them. Fire every single one of them, and promote some of these rank and file members that genuinely care about the American people, genuinely care about fighting crime, and genuinely care about fighting crime in the confines of the Constitution and not violating American citizens' constitutional rights in the progress. That don't want to spy on American citizens just because they have certain political views or political leanings. Like, that can't happen. It is a violation of our constitutional rights. And there are a lot of rank and file members out there that want to do the right thing. And I think we need to let them do it. It's time for a new guard in the FBI. Otherwise, if we do nothing, if we don't get somebody like a Kash Patel in here to clean house, then the FBI at some interval is going to get so bad, so political, so corrupt, it will have to be completely disbanded. And I just don't want to see it get to that point. I think we still have time to save it because there are thousands of rank and file members that do care about doing the right thing. And I think it's now is the time to put somebody like Kash Patel in there to clean house. And this 10-year term limit, as I've explained, does not matter. It does not remove the executive authority of the President of the United States. But you guys let me know what you think about this topic in the comments. I want to move on. I want to get to this Pam Bondi thing. And I'm going to cue this up for you guys. So as you guys know, Trump originally had selected Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General. And then everybody and their mother collectively lost their minds, like quite literally. Even the swamp rats completely lost their minds. And just kind of fell apart. And we're like, Matt Gaetz, what the hell? And I think Matt Gaetz would have been a better AG than Pam Bondi, because Matt Gaetz doesn't care what the establishment thinks. I mean, that's why they're gunning for him. That's why they're going after him. That's why even after he removed himself from the nomination, he was still getting death threats and pipe bomb threats, because the establishment knows he would upend the apple cart. He will not keep the status quo in the Department of Justice. He just wouldn't do it. Well, now we got Pam Bondi, and Pam Bondi is up on Capitol Hill making her rounds in the Senate, which I get you have to do if you're a nomination. I mean, Pete Hegseth is up there doing it. Everybody has to do it. You got to go around and do the dog and pony show. It's so stupid. It's just like everybody. It's a power move. It's always a power move with our politicians. They're all pathetic losers at the end of the day, in my opinion. Not all of them. That's harsh. Not all of them. 60% of them. If you've been there for more than 12 years, you're a pathetic loser. Like, go do something productive with your life. Get out of politics. Like, go start a business, be an entrepreneur, work a shift at McDonald's or Walmart. Go back to your hometown and contribute there, and stop freaking being a freeloading bum on the American people's dime. Anyway, Pam Bondi she has to get confirmed, and everybody that's being nominated has to get confirmed. They got to go up and do the dog and pony show up in DC in the Senate. And she's doing that, which I get. You got to do it. But then she went to Twitter, as you guys can see. For those of you listening and you can't see it, I apologize. But she posts a picture with Senator Lindsey Graham here over on Twitter. And it says, "I just wrapped up an amazing meeting with Senator Graham." And it's them sitting on a couch, probably in his office. Would hate to blue light that thing or black light that thing. But anyway, I digress. And the response immediately was backlash. Like, Trump supporters, non-Trump supporters. She's got right now 33,000 comments on this post, and almost none of them are positive. I sifted through for probably 15 minutes and I found one. And I'm not even sure if it wasn't sarcastic, because sometimes it's hard to tell in 300 characters if somebody, or less, if somebody's being sarcastic. But 33,000 comments, and I didn't see one positive to this. Not one. Why? Because Lindsey Graham's reputation, I know everybody thinks MAGA is just loyal to Republicans and don't think for themselves, and et cetera, et cetera. But Lindsey, nothing could be further from the truth. The MAGA movement has nothing to do with Democrats or Republicans. Like, it's not partisan. And I'm going to say this again so that all you progressives out there, all you lefties, all you brain dead, quote unquote, journalists out there can understand this concept. And even some of you talking heads out there on other podcasts and shows who think this is some sort of Republican Party domination and that the American people are shifting to the Republican Party. I want to say this as clearly as I can. MAGA has nothing to do with political parties. So for the Republican Party out there trying to take credit, and I know they're like, Laura Trump got involved in the Republican Party and chaired the Republican Party. I get it. But if the Republican Party and the higher ups within Donald Trump's administration and campaign do not make this mistake. Do not make the mistake of thinking that the American people are jumping party lines and are just clamoring to become Republicans. That is not what's happening in America. How do I know that's not what's happening in America? Because I live in America. I live in Middle America. I run a business in Middle America. I talk to people, regular, everyday people, daily, right here in Middle America. And I'm telling you now, if I did a poll, which I think my polls would be stronger and more reliable and better than most of the political polls we see out there, because I do straw polls. I actually talk to people. So maybe try that if you're a politician. But I'm telling you, if I took a straw poll, people are not clamoring to become Republicans. This MAGA movement has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do. And I'm going to go back to that Pam Bondi thing in a second. I just want to drive this point home because I don't want the Republicans in Congress. I don't want the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, for that matter, to make this mistake, or Trump's administration. The MAGA movement had nothing to do with partisan politics. It has nothing to do with party. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. That is a hill I will die on. I guarantee you that it has nothing to do with party politics. The MAGA movement has everything to do with fixing our bloated, corrupted systems in Washington, D.C. And we believe the best person for that job is the non-career politician outsider, Donald Trump, because we believe he understands it and he gets it and that he knows what the American people want. Now, he could prove us wrong. We're aware of this because I know the claim is MAGA is a cult, MAGA is brain dead, MAGA doesn't think for themselves. They just love Republicans and blah, blah. And you couldn't be more wrong. And a lot of you have woken up and seen that and realized that that's not what MAGA is all about. Trump may have started Make America Great Again, but the people are the ones that took it over and ran with it. And so for you Republicans out there, Republican leadership, even the Trump administration and Democrats, let me just start with the Republicans. Do not make the mistake of thinking that people in the MAGA movement are just going to blindly follow every stupid thing you do, because they're watching and they're paying attention. They gave you a mandate. They went out and campaigned for you. They politicked. They door knocked. They almost turned blue states into red states. They went ahead and choked down the vomit in their mouth to vote down ballot. I know, because I was one of those people that was choking down the vomit in my mouth to vote down ballot here in Ohio, Republican, because I wanted the Trump agenda, which is the American people agenda, to have a shot at getting through in Congress. And we choked it down to get Trump in. That's the only reason. So do not make the fatal mistake of believing that we will just follow you blindly, Republicans. Don't make the mistake of thinking that this was some Republican victory and that the party is gaining members like crazy, because you are wrong. And you will be disappointed come the midterms if you don't work to push this agenda through. I'm just telling you now. Like, it is not a Republican Party thing. This is an American people thing. And we are watching and we are paying attention. So for all you senators out there that don't want to get in line and vote for these nominees, just know this will be your last term. I don't care if your term ends in 2029. I said 2020 a lot. 2029. I don't care if it ends in 2029. You will be primaried. You will lose. Guaranteed. Same with all of you House of Representative folks. I don't care how long you've been there. I don't care how big your war chest is. It doesn't matter anymore. Your dark money in politics, your influence peddling, it doesn't matter anymore. Why? Because we have tools at our disposal now. You know, there are so many social media tools. There are so many tools outside of social media that we can use to communicate with one another, and we are doing that. So you can run your campaign ads. You can throw money at it. But if you don't get in line with the American people, we are more organized now than we ever have been. We have more tools now than we ever have to organize against the corruptocrats and you bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. And we're paying attention, which is an amazing thing. I think a lot of us might take a break over the holidays and catch our breath, but we're paying attention. We will be back in this fight, and you will see that. So if don't make the mistake, and I know I'm beating this up and I'm just going around in circles now, so I'll wrap this up and get back to talking about Pam Bondi and Lindsey Graham. But this is important because like the Lindsey Grahams of the world actually believe people like them. And we don't. Like, I'm telling you right now, we don't. So don't make the mistake of thinking this is a Republican thing and that you're somehow winning. Like your one party is winning over. Yes, the Democrat Party is dead. They're floating in the water. They're rudderless. They don't know what they're doing. They're lost in the woods. They don't have a message. They don't have policies. They just have progressive Marxist talking points and ideologies that they want to shove down people's throats because they know like the Democrat Party. I know I'm going down the rabbit hole. Bear with me. The Democrat Party is like an insurance salesman, right? Like nobody buys insurance, right? Insurance has to be sold. And I'm not saying like that insurance isn't a good thing. I have insurance. And if you're smart, you would also have different varying levels of insurance to protect against your risk. That's not the point. My point is nobody buys insurance. It has to be sold by somebody. Why? Because there's so many intricacies to it. They're not all good. Not every policy is a good policy. And a lot of times the insurance company is kind of like raking you over the coals and getting more out of you than they really should. because, they want to make money, and I get it, but nobody buys insurance. And the Democrat Party is an awful lot like an insurance company. Nobody wants to buy their shit because it's bad. It's not good. And all these Democrats, all these politicians on the left, and the media, the propaganda media, are like the insurance salesman. And they have to try to sell you their policies because they're so bad. They're so bad. So that's why truth doesn't matter. That's why facts don't matter. It's all spin and propaganda because they're trying to sell you shit they know you don't want to buy. They knew it. They know that if you knew the fine print of their policies, you wouldn't want it. They know that. So they have to sell it to you. And they're a lot like insurance salesmen, and because nobody wants to buy insurance. Nobody. It has to be sold. And that's the Democrat Party right now. But don't make this mistake, guys, because I'm telling you right now, Republicans, this isn't about you. This isn't about your party. Nobody gives a shit about your party. We care about the American people. We care about our ways of life. We care about our constitutional rights not being violated. We want a strong economy. We want opportunities to live our lives. That's what we want. It's not about you. So if you don't jump in line, you will be out of office on the next term. Guaranteed. And no amount of money is going to save your ass. Like, I'm just telling you right now, there's a shift in the American people. And in 2 years, you will be voted out if you're in the House of Representatives. You'll be primaried, and we will band together to make sure whoever your primary opponents are win. And there's no amount of money that's going to save you. Now, it's because that's how much I believe in the American people's resolve right now. I could be wrong. I might have to eat crow in 2 years. You may lull us back to sleep with your entertainment and your chaotic news cycles. You may do that because that's what you do. And for the American people out there paying attention, you know this. It's chaotic news cycles. There's a new news cycle every other day. A lot of things you would stay in the news cycle 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Like when Trump was damn near assassinated and shot in the head 20 years ago, that would have stayed in the news for 2 weeks. It lasted 2 days. Like they sped up the news cycle to distract you, to keep you confused, bombard you with information over and over and over again. We know the tactics. We know your tricks. So you guys are going to have to go back to your playbook because I don't think you're going to lull the American people back to sleep again. I think we're all woke. Like we are awake. I won't say woke because you go woke, you go broke. We're not woke. We're awake. We are awake and we are paying attention. So don't make the mistake. All right, let me get back to this. I know I went down the rabbit hole, guys. I apologize. But for those of you that know me, you know I do that sometimes. But so Pam Bondi posts this picture. Let me take you back to it here real quick. She posts this picture of her and Lindsey Graham. What a wet rag he is. God, what a tool bag. Look at him. Oh, I can't stand the man. But she posts this, and man, the instant repudiation, like the clapback was tremendous. 33,000 comments. I found one that was positive, and I'm not 100% sure if it wasn't sarcastic. And I get that she has to do this. But what Pam Bondi needs to understand is like the American people are paying attention. We don't want the status quo intact. Lindsey Graham's reputation in the Senate is a status quo reputation. He's an establishment guy. Lindsey Graham will sell out the American people if it gets him one more year in the Senate. He will turn his back on doing what is right faster than he will ever do anything to actually advance the American people. And he's proven that through his words on the floor in the Senate and his voting record in the Senate. And then he pretends to be this, Republican that cares about middle America and working America and families and conservative families and all this. But he doesn't. All you have to do is listen to everything he actually says and how he votes and who he hangs out with and pals around with and chums around with in Washington, D.C. I mean, Lindsey Graham is not somebody that has a great reputation within the MAGA movement. Shit, anytime he gets in front of a MAGA crowd, they boo him. And Pam Bondi needs to understand the optics of this because this photo gives the impression that she will be a status quo attorney general, which is not what Americans voted for. And maybe she's not going to be. But what she needs to understand is optics matter. And when you post a picture like this, chumming it up with a wet rag like Lindsey Graham, that nobody likes. They don't like him on the left. Well, I mean, people in the Senate do because he's a good old boy, influence peddling turd, just like Biden. So people in the Senate like him, but the American people do not. We don't trust him. And then he'll go on Fox News when he's running for freaking re-election and beg people to go to lindseygraham.com to give a campaign, and it's just like, it's pathetic. He's a two-faced turd. Nobody likes him. And she has to understand that the optics of this are that she will just keep the status quo going as Attorney General in the Department of Justice. And that is not what the American people want right now. So if I was her, I would literally come out. And I know she's got to get confirmed, and I know she wants to get Lindsey Graham's vote. But if Lindsey Graham is willing to vote for all of Biden's nominations, all of Obama's nominations, all these, some liberal federal judges, then he's going to nominate her, right? I think she should come out and post a statement that, she's not chumming it up with him, because the importance of there is importance in perception here. And she is giving the perception that she is going to be a status quo AG. And I am starting to now worry a little bit about Pam Bondi being AG. And is she going to be a status quo AG? And there's a lot of people concerned out there that she may have support red flag laws, gun laws, gun confiscation. And that is not what the American people want. Not the vast majority of the American people. We want our civil rights to be intact. We want our God-given unalienable rights to be intact, right? The government is supposed to uphold those rights and secure those rights. They don't give them to us. They can't take them away from us because they're not given to us by them. And Pam Bondi is starting to scare some people that she is going to be a status quo AG. I hope that's not the case. But what do you guys think? Do you think Pam Bondi's photo op is a red flag? Not to be confused with red flag laws. Do you think it's a red flag that she might be a status quo? Or am I and 33,000 other people? I'm sorry, I said 33,000 comments. That is incorrect. She's had 17,000 comments, of which I found one that may have been positive, but I can't tell if it's sarcastic or not. So 17,000 comments. I corrected it before you guys had the opportunity to. So, but let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do you think this is a red flag, her chumming it up with Lindsey Graham, or do you think she's just doing what she has to do to get nominated? Am I reading too much into it? Or should we be concerned that she's going to be a horrible status quo AG? Let me know what you guys think about her as AG in the comments below. She has the opportunity to prove herself, but moves like this make it hard for the people who supported Trump to have faith in her. And I hope Trump understands that too, because Donald Trump ain't getting a free ride here, guys. Like, it ain't happening. Yeah, we voted for him. We like him. He's the outsider. He's the non-career politician. So that's why we brought him back. We have faith in him. And yeah, so we'll see. But anywho, I think that's it, guys. I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. Give me some thoughts and feedback on if you like this segment or how I'm doing the show now. Just let me know your thoughts in general. And my phone is blowing up. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it there. I apologize for the little delay here, but I think today's story is painting a clear picture. Elites in Washington are protecting themselves, whether it's through pardons, terms, photo ops, right? All the shit we're hearing in the news. But the American people are paying attention now. Like, we're seeing through this. So they can keep coming on TV and telling us that it's okay to pardon somebody for 10 years. They can keep coming on TV and telling us that, the FBI director's term cannot be violated. And they can take really shitty photo ops. But don't make the mistake of keeping the status quo, because the American people are paying attention. We need accountability, not excuses. Let's keep pushing for real change, guys. And let's hold everyone on both sides accountable. Like, that is what the purpose of the MAGA movement was all about. It's not about party. We are not going to make it about party. Nobody gives a crap about the Republican Party. Nobody gives a crap about the Democrat Party. We care about accountability and the people that we hire doing our will. And if they're not going to do that, they need to go. So, hey, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I will see you tomorrow, same time, 8 a.m. If you want to catch it live, you can do so over on Rumble or YouTube, X, usually on Facebook. Facebook crashed today. I don't know why. And if you don't want to watch it live or can't watch it live, you can always catch every episode over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I appreciate you guys. I love you. And until I talk to you again, stay strong, stay informed, but most importantly, guys, stay in the fight. All right, till tomorrow.